Welcome to Sync in English and welcome to the series of UGC Net Psychology. In the last class, we have discussed about, we talked about scope of the social psychology and history. Right, we have briefly seen the historical events that significantly, occurred during the past years, and we have seen the current trends which we are following in the social psychology as well. And today we will be dealing with the social psychological theories, in which we talk about three important theories. One is people psychology, second one is mass psychology, and the next one is theories which are based upon the instincts of social behavior. And we will see whether this series of instincts of social behavior are being holding the place, or is there any changes to them. So let's begin with social psychological theories. So first one is people psychology. When it comes to people psychology, is developed as one of the first forms of social psychological theories in Germany, and most of the outstanding creators, when we talk about, they have published papers and articles like Lazarus and Sentinel, where introductory thoughts on people psychology, and we have got in this journal they talked about people psychology, where they expressed the idea that the main force of history is the people or the spirit of the whole, which means art, religion, language, myths, and customs. So these are all main force of in which the people's psychology is being understood. So here they've come up with individual consciousness is only its product, and a link in certain mental connection is also what they have already believed in. And the task of social psychology was to perceive the psychological essence of the spirit of the people and discover the laws that guide the spiritual activity of the people. So it is more of they're talking about religion, art, language, myths, and customs. So, but according to William Wundt, right, further developed people's psychology and proposed that psychology, consists of two parts mainly. One is physiological psychology, and other one is people psychology, where the physiological psychology deals with experimental discipline, actually, but experimentation is not useful for the study of higher mental process like thinking and language. So for the areas like language, myths, customs, and arts, people's psychology need to adopt other methods as well. So in the views of Wundt, Vygotsky actually opposed or criticized the views which are proposed by the William Wundt, because people psychology then considered to be language, myths, custom, art, and religion as objectives of study, but actually Vygotsky called these as plots of ideology or crystals. So Vygotsky come up with a proposal that we need to not just study the crystals, but the solution itself we need to study or focus. So he opposed the thought that the social psychology should study the mentality of collective personality. So this is what the greater opposition got within the people psychology, where we have got Lazarus and William Wundt and Vygotsky's ideas of social psychology. And Vygotsky dealt with two important questions which are directly related to the development of social psychology. One is that the higher mental functions, and the other is violational act. So these are cannot be actually considered immediate functions of the brain. Roots of this function lies in social condition. So he expounded the idea of cultural historical determination of all mental processes. So this is how the people psychology has developed, and then led to the next aspect, that is mass psychology. So what is mass psychology? So as of now, we have understood that who contributed to people psychology. So these may be asked in mass the following as well. So who contributed to which theory, etc. And years also not much necessary, but at least if we can remember the name of the author and the theory proposed or theory opposed, would be very much important when it comes to UGC. So coming to mass psychology. So mass psychology, like these theories were emerged in later half of the 19th century, where we have got creators like Schlegel, Franz, sociologists like Gustave Le Bon and Gabriel Tratz. So these are the guys who actually, who put forth the mass psychology, where the ideas on the role of irrational movements in the social behavior and role of imitation was more discussed in these theories. Because this events like mass movements in late 19th and early 20th century, rapid social and economic changes due to industrialization and urbanization were conducive to mass psychology. But like people psychology, it did not develop any within the context of academic psychology. So it did not have any significant consequences as regards the future of social psychology. So the mass psychology was not given any significant consequences, which was regarded before as it can be a future of the psychology, because it was the basic ideas on the role of irrational movements in the social behavior and role of imitation. So this is how mass psychology was developed. The year 1908 was considered to be, a year of final emergence of social psychology as an independent scientific discipline. So, and the contributors, if you see, we have got Baldwin and McDowell and Eros. So they have come up with different textbooks or different books. Like when we talk about Baldwin, come up with social and ethical interpretation in mental development. McDowell came up with an introduction to social psychology, and Eros given the social psychology. So these theories were actually considered to be one of the first systematic manuals in the social psychology. And when we talk about Eros social psychology, he speaks about uniformity in feelings. And McDougall's theories put forth the inborn instincts or causes of social behavior. So here, in spite of having a great popularity for the theories of McDougall's, they have played a negative role in the history of science, because recognition of instincts as a motive force behind the social behavior gave a negative impact on the science, and led to overcoming the theory of and led to the overcoming of the theory of instincts is deemed to be an important milestone in the formation of scientific social psychology. So the theories of instincts, which was the main, when the social psychology emerged as a scientific discipline, right? The theories of instincts were deemed to be, overcome, or they need to be changed and replaced by the formation of scientific social psychology. So still here, what you have seen is how this theories were emerged right from people's psychology. So people's psychology is holding a very good place, and especially when we talk about Vygotsky, when he opposed the theories of William Wundt as an ideology, plots of ideology or crystals, and then mass psychology being, having a role of irrational movements in the social behavior, and which doesn't have really a good significant consequences as regarded for the future within the social psychology, and the theories of instincts, which has to be replaced by the scientific social psychology. So as of now, we will be dealing with the beginning of experimental research in social psychology, and we will be seeing different theories that were put forth in the social psychology in experimental in nature. So for that matter, if you see, major trends were followed by, in 1908, 1908 to 1939, where the theories, the first theories were given, conformity theory, right? And then leadership theories were given, major trends. And later, scientific development has led to the theories of Kurt Lewin's, right? And then maturing field theories, right? Beginning of middle range theories. So these are the different theories came into existence. Experimental Kurt Lewin, experimental works due to efforts of Kurt Lewin put social psychology as a science in a more advantageous position. So if you see that this table gives you a more insight on what are the years and what are the experimental works that were done. So we can follow this, and we can pause this video and you can have a glance at this table, so that this table gives us more insights regarding what are the theories and what are the years that the development of social psychology to evolutionary social psychology, and right now current trend is what we are following. So today we have discussed about theories of social psychology, and we'll be dealing with next aspects in coming parts. So we talked about, so in the next parts, we will be dealing with traditional theoretical perspectives like field theory, cognitive dissonance, sociobiology, psychodynamic approaches, and social cognition. So far what we have seen is the nature, scope, and history of the social psychology. So within the 8th unit, the first part is done. So these 5 parts which can be used to study the nature, scope, and history of the social psychology, where I focused on the more important theories and most important aspects within the nature, scope, and history of the social psychology. So in the next part, we'll deal with the second one. Thank you.